do you ever ask why? Why it was you?
That's a great question, and that's something I wrestle with a lot. I don't know if you guys, any NBA fans here? You guys remember the guy named Sekou Smith, reporter? He's a close friend. He died on January 27th of COVID. He's a close friend of mine. I've known him for over 20 years. I hadn't talked with him in a few months because he's so busy during the NBA season. I found out the afternoon of Tuesday, January 27th, I still remember it, that he had not only gotten sick, he had died of COVID. And I struggled with it. It was really hard, knowing that you're potentially sitting on something in your blood that could have possibly saved his life. I really struggled with it. In fact, the next day, I called Dr. Leota and told him the whole story. And it was very emotional. I told him the whole story. I told him, I know scientists are moving as fast as humanly possible, but I just couldn't take another story like that. It was just hard, knowing that you're sitting on something that possibly could have saved his life. It was just very hard. And he was married with 3 kids who adored him. And it just broke my heart to hear the story.
Do you feel all right? You okay?
I'm fine. It took a while. I talked to a lot of friends of mine. And you just came to the conclusion, realization that no matter what you have in your special blood or whatever in your arms, I'm not God. None of us are God. No matter what, we don't get to decide who lives and dies. But if there are going to be people or friends of mine who do die, it's not going to be because of lack of effort on my part. I know that. I'm going to do everything I can. And I know scientists are as well. And so, again, journalism is a microcosm of society as a whole. There's going to be racism everywhere, just here and there. You just got to deal with it. I was always self-confident myself, and I never let people, I face it, but never let it slow me down. In fact, I think for me, being black helped. And I say it because, again, I covered a lot of basketball. And especially back then, I was playing a lot of basketball, still playing 4 or 5 days a week. I would play with the Gators in pickup during the summer, and with Georgia Tech players in the summer. Not because I just wanted to show off, but it was a great way for them to get to know me as a person. I don't know if any of you guys are athletes, but if you play with somebody, basketball or football or any sort of sports with somebody, you see the real person, real them. Is he a horrible winner? Is he a horrible loser? Is he a bad teammate? You really see the people's real personality when you play sports. And so for me, it helped a lot. Being black, young, black, and athletic, at least semi-athletic, it's actually helped me, I think, a lot for me. Well, he's asked about the book I wrote about Sergeant Rodney M. Davis. Sergeant Davis was a U.S. Marine who was killed in Vietnam during one of the nastiest firefights of the Vietnam War. Basically, his 200 Marines walked into a trap set by 2,500 North Vietnamese soldiers. And it was hand-to-hand combat. And Sergeant Davis, it was an enemy grenade landed in the trench he was sharing with 5 Marines. And Sergeant Davis singed the grenade, jumped on the grenade, used both hands, pulled it underneath himself to take the entire blast to save the lives of those 5 Marines. What makes the story, that's a crazy story to start with. What makes it even more riveting, that Sergeant Davis was an African American. Those 5 Marines with whom he sacrificed his own life with were all white. This was in 1967, when America was bitterly divided over the issue of race. There were race riots all over the country that year. And he was from Macon, Georgia, where Jim Crow was still the law of the land. So for him to see those guys as his brothers, they were his brothers, every much as his brothers he grew up with in Macon, Georgia. That's what made the story so powerful. But as far as you asked me what made me write it, because it was a great story I needed to tell. And quite honestly, it's a story of rivets that America could use here and right now. But quite honestly, we're all the same. We all bleed the same color red. And it also shows what we're capable of doing when we work together and get over the issues of race. The only thing I would suggest to you, take every assignment that comes your way. I mean, literally for me, when I was at the Gainesville Sun, for example, at that point, we had a 15 or 16 member sports staff, and I think I was the only person there who was single at the time. So I would take every assignment that came to the pipe. You need somebody to go to California tomorrow? I'm your guy. You need somebody to go to Mexico or Texas tomorrow? I'm your guy. And that's how you get make your bona fides nationally. You get your name out and about. And in the sports journalism world, so much of it is just getting your foot in the door and people knowing your name. So after a while, you don't, when jobs open, they call you. I got my job at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution because they had read all the basketball stuff I had done. And so literally, I remember the sports editor at the AJC literally called me up out of the blue and offered me a job. And so I would just say that, don't be hesitant, don't be shy, even if it's something you haven't covered before, go into it, embrace it, and don't be afraid to admit what you don't know. Because you know what, when you're talking to people, they can tell within 5 minutes if you don't know anything about the sport anyway, so they appreciate your honesty. So just embrace every challenge you have. That was probably the biggest thing for me, is as far as just going away from where I grew up. I grew up in Fredericksburg, Virginia, went to University of Virginia. So moving to the deep south, Atlanta, then Gainesville, Florida before that, I didn't know a soul really. So that was probably the biggest challenge for me, not knowing anybody there. You're away from your safety net's gone. All your friends, family, all that sort of stuff, college friends, all that stuff's gone. But you got to be confident in yourself, confident no matter what. You're going to make friends. You're going to, it's going to be home for you in no time at all, and you're going to do well. And no matter what happens, comes at you, you can handle it. So just don't ever let your confidence get shaken. And there are always going to be disappointments. That's life, right? But you know what? You learn from it. You move on. Do better next time. Question. The biggest thing for me is you just learn how to write. I didn't do a lot of writing as far as newspaper background in college, but I was a political science major, foreign affairs major at UVA, and you do extensive amount of writing. So the biggest thing, no matter what you do, you got to be able to write. You got to be able to express yourself clearly, concisely. And so I would credit UVA for that. Just learn how to write, and you learn how to work and deal with different people, different from yourself. And so those two are the biggest things I would say. Thank you. Said that, they won't believe it. But to me, it's like there are plenty of role models for me. We all have an obligation to, I feel like I've been blessed my entire life. Like I was telling you, my mom was a single mom, school teacher, raising 3 boys. She put 2 of us at UVA and another one, oldest brother, to Princeton. And so I always, if it can be done, but we had plenty of people to help. We didn't do it alone, in a vacuum by ourselves. So I always feel like, you've been blessed. Your responsibility to pay that blessing forward.